Hey everybody, what's happening? Neil Temple of Doom back once again from Pop Cultured with Silver Screen Sheen and team. Check us out on the radio, News Talk 1290 CJBK. That is a Bell Media station on iHeartRadio. Today, I have another streaming review for you, and it is Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise. So this is part 2, and it is not related to the War for Cybertron video game from a few years ago. It's actually obviously more tied into the toys that have just recently come out, and the Earthrise toys are awesome. They look amazing. I got a few of them myself. So yes, as a Transformers fan, I had to review this. Season 2, I watched it as soon as it came out, which is a couple weeks ago now, but I finally got around to reviewing it. It is, once again, of course, produced by Rooster Teeth, who are known for their anime, and being part 2 of a 3-part story. Kingdom is the 3rd part, which is coming probably at the end of this year, I would imagine. And this story is all about the Allspark, which is believed to be destroyed. And so now Megatron must harvest sparks from his own Decepticons to power a project called Nemesis. Meanwhile, the Autobots, who were basically knocked out, like they're all unconscious aboard the Ark, and they're just floating adrift in space, they're actually found by these mercenary Transformers led by this character called Double Dealer. And there's these clone Autobots and Decepticons, there's like this double of Bumblebee, a double of Wheeljack and stuff. But anyway, they wind up bringing the Autobots to a Quintesson named Decius, who is basically very fighting with itself, the 5 faces of darkness, whatever they called it back in G1 days. They don't get along in this case, so they try to have a consensus, but it doesn't really work out. Again, I'm obviously going to touch on a few plot points here. No real spoilers. I'm not going to say what happens to any of these characters, but it's been a couple weeks now, and it's a quick binge watch, so come on, catch up. No, seriously though, I'm not going to spoil too much of the story. It is a lot to do with the Allspark and how the Autobots are trying to find the Allspark. They actually do find it on this station, and they actually wind up bumping into this massive enemy while on the station. It's its lone occupant, the Guardian of the Allspark, and the last of his kind. That's all I'll say. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, Megatron and a few other Decepticons, they do arrive to complicate matters, of course, and there's a lot of fighting between the two, and then there's other characters that are introduced, a couple of G1 characters that a lot of hardcore Transformers fans since 1984, like myself, will certainly recognize. And I was fascinated with a lot of the choices that they took in terms of what these characters did. But I'm not going to reveal who these characters are necessarily. Just basically got to say that, even though the show doesn't follow the G1 story exactly, right? There's a lot of holes and things missing from the G1 story so far. But it is an interesting story, and I think they do a good job with, like, how do you write for Transformers? It is difficult, how do you write something new while it being still the same at the same time, right? It's really hard to please new and old fans alike, even though this toy line is, certainly directed at adult collectors more than kids, I would say. So, they know their audience. They know that a lot of old school fans, are going to be the main audience here for these Transformers. And, in terms of the critiques and everything, I will say that, the acting is very good, especially Megatron and Elita 1, Jetfire, Wheeljack. Some of these characters are really, really great. And they're not necessarily doing a G1 impression because they don't have to, there's no obligation to sound just like Frank Welker or Peter Cullen or something. That's kind of crazy. It's a tall order. But the guy that does Optimus Prime, he seems a little bit off. Like, he's good when he's quiet, and he's good when he's doing the dialogue, just regularly. But when he's yelling, when he's shouting, he sounds kind of more drill sergeant than robot hero. He just, I don't know. It's just something about him, but maybe we're just too used to Peter Cullen, who knows. But it is, like I said, a fairly new story featuring just so many beloved characters. But of course, they couldn't include every cool character. I mean, where's Jazz? Where's, Devastator? I don't know. Whoever's still around, there's just too many characters to juggle. So I understand why they kept it to just a certain amount of characters for this retelling of the Transformers story here. With just 6 episodes at 24 minutes each, Transformers fans will just breeze right through this season. The show and the toys, they all seem to be directed at us adult collectors, so us adults are going to find little things to complain about, but Hasbro knows it's an adult market. They know the adults drive the market. And when it comes to toys, when it comes to Transformers, G.I. Joe, anything else that my generation grew up with in the 1980s. So I really did enjoy Transformers Earthrise. I liked it as much as I liked Siege, I would say. There's a couple of weird things and here and there that I was kind of like, okay, and Megatron wants to kill Optimus Prime, but he's also very quick to work with him, and it's like, okay, but is it a trick? Oh, I'm not sure. There's a lot going on. And there's some pretty crazy time travel, fantastical stuff as well that's just like, what? So it's interesting, and of course the way it ends is exactly as we had expected, so can't wait to see Kingdom next year, featuring even more familiar characters from your childhood, and it should be great. So it was an entertaining, very entertaining time watching Transformers Earthrise, and it was a quick meal, but it was satisfying. So I'm going to give Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise a 8 out of 10. That's right, an 8 out of 10 because, it's good. It's fun. It's solid. You'll get through it in no time. And, it does work very well. And I think it will please fans new and old. So that's all from me, guys. Neil Temple of Doom. Thank you so much for checking out this quick streaming review. And until next time, peace.